Come on now.
Hey guys.
It's just a pint.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Here at the Swamp, get ready to beat LSU. Y'all tune in to Rule Number 1 podcast on Monday.
Yeah. Yes, sir. We have a cool one this week, partner.
Yeah, we're back again. Episode 29, man.
We're rocking and rolling.
Yeah, I know. We're rolling along. I was just thinking about it, and I was like, like these things are really adding up.
Yeah.
And I was looking at Spotify because obviously I listen to every episode because it's a whole lot different. Brian does all the editing, so he hears everything before. But
like 200 times.
Yeah, and so whenever comes Monday, I listen to the episode, and I get to hear myself instead of actually speaking. And I was like, dang, it's already going to be 29. But time's flying, and we're having a good time. And this episode we have Cade Denhoff. He is a defensive end at Clemson University. So welcome in, Cade.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm stoked. This is a big brand for us. You're around a lot of cool people too. Have you ever went down the slide?
Yeah, a while ago. No, we have an opportunity to do it when we come out of meetings.
Okay.
Because everybody walks right past. At least the defensive guys walk right past it to go down to the locker room. I always take the stairs just because I got like a backpack and like other stuff. A lot of guys do use it. It is a daily thing.
Yeah, what's the slide? I hadn't heard that.
So it's in the Clemson athletic facility. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Cade, but it's like right when you walk in, you see these two slides, correct? Or
No,
just one?
Just one.
Just one. You see this one slide from the second story of the athletic department down to like the exit, like you're heading out of the athletic facility, and I see all these videos of recruits. I've seen Dabo go down it before too. It's a big deal, and I just wanted to know if our guy went down the slide before. Dude, it's huge. You got to look up videos of it.
Yeah, I was about to say I haven't seen that before, but that sounds like a good time at least.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to picture like Cade's big self going down because Cade, what, you're 6'6"?
I'm about 6'5", just right about 6'5".
Yeah, that's a big fella to be going down a slide. You don't want to be at the bottom of it whenever he goes down.
Shot.
But Cade, we ask everybody on the beginning of every episode, what is your number one rule you live by?
Man, I told you I watched a couple of episodes, so I thought about it today. But I mean, Smo, you've known me for a while. But I would honestly probably just say hard work. That's kind of always been my thing. It got me to where I was. It developed me. Learned it from my dad, probably would say, where I got it from. But yeah, hard work ethic is probably biggest rule of my life, just in all areas, sports, academics, just life in general. So yeah, that's fine.
When you say hard work, does that mean like dedication 100% to whatever you're doing or whatever the task is?
Just whatever I'm doing, dedication, trying to be a man of excellence, whether that's, I'm like a cleanliness person. So like, if I'm cleaning the house or if I'm going to get groceries or like, I always have a list of things that I like have to, that I want to get accomplished, or whether it's on the field or in the classroom, just outworking everybody else, and just trying to be the best. Cause I don't like to lose and I don't like to be, seen as somebody that's like a failure per se. So yeah, just in anything, just dedication and excellence.
I love it.
That sounds like a Clemson Tiger, man.
Yeah, I
think
know.
about all the the couple national championships, all the national championships they played in, the building of that dynasty. You see all the videos of Dabo chewing people out, but also being a passionate head coach who cares about these guys and instills these values that Cade here is talking about. That's really cool to see how one man can affect generations and generations of people on the field and off the field.
Yeah, definitely. Cade mentioned a little bit that how I've known him for a while. We met at youth group, going to church together in middle school, and so we grew up going to church together. And then whenever I went to high school, I was playing football for LCS, and here comes Cade. Cade comes in, and I believe I was a junior, and Cade was a little 8th grader, and he was a big 8th grader, but he was little at that time.
He's probably like 6 foot.
Yeah, he's a lot taller now. No, honestly, I think he was like 5'8", and so like okay. I was bigger than him. Obviously I'm a junior. He's 8th grade.
Oh yeah.
And we were playing football and everything, and I got to know him a little bit better, on the field. And then I go off to college, and all of a sudden Cade hit a growth spurt and really blossomed a little bit. Cade, let's talk a little bit about you started or you played varsity as an 8th grader up with us, and then talk a little bit about that moment where you're like, okay, I'm taking football really seriously, because you grew up as a baseball kid, right?
Yeah, so I played baseball ever since I was real little. Baseball and like flag football and like rec basketball. My dad didn't want me playing tackle football until I was like middle school, so I started that when I was in 7th grade. And then we heard about LCS through the Lawsons, who we went to high school with and stuff. And so went to LCS in 8th grade. I was, like you said, I used to keep track of like every year, like what my height and weight was to see like my progress. So 8th grade, I think I came in at 5'11" and like 165 or 170. Like
I was way off.
Grader. That's a huge 8th grader.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was way off.
Yeah, I was definitely tall, but I was scrawny. So yeah, I came in. I had played a year of tackle football, or I think it was 2 years because I reclassified. So it was 2 years of tackle football for the Dolphins. Came in 8th grade, didn't know anything except I didn't know much about defensive end except for just like you got to contain the edge. That's all I ever knew, was just keep everything inside. And I got there and they just threw me right in with varsity. I honestly didn't really want to play varsity. I was like, because like once I got to know some of the guys, like Gabe Averett and some of those guys in Reeds, like they were all playing middle school. So I was like, I want to play with my guys. But yeah, they threw me on varsity and I just was like learning as I went, didn't really know anything. And just was trying to work hard, but yeah, it was a challenge for sure.
I have a cool story about Cade here. I graduated I graduated high school in 2017, and I came back 2 years later, my sophomore year. I believe Cade was a junior at LCS, and you graduated in 2018, right? Or 2019?
I graduated in 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So he was even younger,
yeah.
younger. Okay, so I come back and we're playing Lakeland Christian, or Fort Meade High School's playing Lakeland Christian that night.
Oh yeah, you're a Meade guy, right?
I am a Fort Meade guy. Yes, my dad's actually athletic director there. So
What a scrub, right, Cade?
I hear about all the big time athletes. So I come back to this game. My dad bumps me on the shoulder. He goes, "Watch this cat from LCS tonight." And I'm like, "Which one?" He says, "Just look at their field, or look at the field, and then you'll realize which one." So I scan across the field, and I see this big dude towering over everybody else on the defensive line. I'm like, "Is that the guy, Dad?" He's like, "Yeah, he's committed to Clemson." And I think he had like 6 sacks that night against Fort Meade, something like that. It was tremendous.
Yeah, how do you go ahead, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
How do you, going from being that, big high school star, man, you were a 4-star coming out of high school, if I remember right, getting highly recruited, how do you handle that as, a sophomore, getting all these offers and, getting put in the spotlight where, every single time you step on the field, people are, they're making a game plan to get Cade Denhoff, they're running against you and, putting their best pass blocker against you. How do you handle that?
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to stay level headed. But I had to, my parents were really good, and Coach O'Neill, Coach Williams, and Coach Barry specifically. All my coaches were really good at humbling me every day at practice. But honestly, once I started to get recruited, it really kind of just makes you it made me want to work harder, because I knew they could pull them at any second. I mean, a lot of these offers nowadays are not even committable offers. So I knew, if I didn't keep up with what I was doing, they could pull them at any second, or they could stop recruiting me or stop calling me. So it was kind of more motivation. And then on the field, it was just, once they start double teaming you and once they start coming after you more, and once you kind of have they know about you more and more, you just it was like I said, you just got to outwork them. There was definitely some games where it was much more difficult to make plays. But yeah, I was just trying to work harder and harder every year. So yeah.
So coming up through high school, you go to LCS, you're at this, LCS is not your average high school. We can both agree on that, right? All three agree on that. It's
especially
a nice place.
In the football program.
Yes, it's a very nice football
facilities.
Stadium, big jumbo screen. So, an average high schooler would look at that place and be like, "Man, I want to play there." What drew you towards Clemson, Cade? What was the selling factor up there in South Carolina for you?
The biggest thing for me, which is the same for a lot of guys, and what I always tell people, when I first started getting recruited by them, and when I took my first visit, It was really just their culture, which sounds cliche. A lot of people say that, but it is true. I really just fell in love with the coaching staff, and everybody says it, and nobody really knows if it's true on the outside, but they do. They treat everybody like family. When you're getting recruited, they make you feel like you've been there 100 times. They make you feel like you're already there, honestly, like you're a player. So it's just their culture. And there were some really, really good coaches from here that recruited me, that I grew really close to, and even in the recruitment process. And then when I got here, so just a culture, and then the small town feel, a little bit. And I always said I wanted to go to school like somewhere like in the South, not Florida, but like Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, something like that. Just so I could have seasons, like, cause I really like weather. I like it to be like not freezing cold, but I like to have like a cold season. Foothills of the mountains. So just a great place, and then a great culture. So
I've never heard somebody describe a big like university town like as a small town vibe. You know what I'm saying? You go to Gainesville, they call it Gaines Vegas for a reason. Like it's crazy.
Gainesville's a small town too.
Yeah, but it's like nuts. Everybody in Gainesville is like Florida man on steroids. I've never heard anybody tell or talk about like a big college town like that as a small town vibe. When you say that, how do you mean?
So like it's weird because our campus it's like Clemson. It's the campus, it's school, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Like there's like surrounding areas, but like if you wanted to just cut like through campus and like through the whole surrounding, like the whole area of Clemson, like the city limits, because it's the campus and then a little bit around it, it would probably take you 10 minutes. Like it's not very big at all. And then you drive down a couple state roads, right or left, and you get to Anderson or Seneca, which is our bigger cities per se, like around us. But it's like the campus, and then like there's like some restaurants and like a couple apartment complexes and stuff, and some housing. And there's a lot of people that live here as well, just like not students. But it's not very big, and it's really just a university. So that's what I mean when I say small town, because it really is.
Yeah, I remember that. So not to the scale obviously that you have, but I went in 2016, and I was playing baseball up there, and I do remember it was, now that you said that, it was, I mean, obviously this is summertime too, so it's like not school's in session or whatever, but I could understand that, because isn't it, if you drive like 15 minutes out away from there, like you've got a bunch of woods and everything too, like it's not very populated, like too far out, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah. You take, so like it's a big circle. I wish I could show you on a map, because it's a big circle, and like Lake Hartwell is a big lake that's just north of us, and like the very tips of it come like right up to the university and the campus. So it's a big circle, and then there's roads that go both this way, and then a road that goes north. So if you go east, you'll go to Anderson, and that's not as many woods, but like you do it's y'all know Highway 60, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay. So going towards Anderson is a little bit like Highway 60.
Okay.
And then, like maybe like a restaurant and like a couple gas stations and like a little small city or town called Pendleton, but it's not really that populated. And then you go left, you go to Seneca, and it's kind of like driving down Highway 60 again, same road, just a state highway. And then like about 15 minutes down the road, you get to like a pretty populated area.
How far are you guys from like USC, South Carolina? Like
the USC is that's about 2 hours 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not far at all.
Yeah.
No, that's a good. I get why it's a rivalry now. Like,
yeah. Speaking of which, we've talking about South Carolina. How is that rivalry? You going into Clemson, and you're playing ball and everything. What's the difference between a college rivalry and for instance LCS playing Berkeley Prep or
that's a
whatever?
Good question.
There's a little bit of similarity, but it's just it's scaled way higher. Like there's a thing that both schools do. They'll take, I don't really know. They make it's like made out of wood and stuff, but it looks like a giant piñata, just like standing up. And Clemson makes one with a gamecock, and South Carolina makes one with a tiger. And I don't know if other schools do this, but like on the Thursday, I think of the game week, they burn it.
Man,
So like every year, Coach Sweeney shows us the video of South Carolina fans burning the tiger. So it's deep. And it's interesting because there's a lot of people from Columbia that go to Clemson, which is weird because they're from Columbia. So we have a lot of people from Columbia. Like one of my best friends is from Lexington, which is right outside of Columbia. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal, and it's just scaled way higher. But there's a lot of similarities with the high school and college rivalries.
Getting into
It's just-
rivalries. Who's like your biggest like ACC guy, like opponent that you just hate to play?
ACC rival. We don't Florida State. Well, none of us like Florida State.
Okay, understandable.
Yeah, you know,
Especially-
we're on the same
especially
page.
this-
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. Especially this year because they're getting some hype. But I'd say Florida State, Syracuse probably. We
Okay.
don't really like to play. Just because when we go up there, their stadium is really small. It's because it's a basketball arena as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wait, really?
What?
Yeah, if you look up Syracuse's stadium, it's arena and it's a football. So that like they take out the turf and all that when they do basketball season.
I had no idea.
My mind's
it's like
blown.
a
I thought they had like a dome for football and a dome for basketball.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is but it's really small. The roof is real small and it's like hot in there.
Is a punter hit the roof like every now and then and more?
Not quite that. Well, actually, I don't think it's that quite that low, but
Okay.
it's definitely not. Yeah, it's not tall.
I want to go to all these
NC
places.
State, NC State honestly is probably our biggest.
Okay, that makes
We've
sense.
We've had some battles with them the past couple of years, and they're real chirpy. So, I would probably say NC State.
So, Cade, a little bit. Whenever you're coming into a game day, you know, how do you prepare yourself? You know, take us through from the night before. We'll say, like, for instance, we'll say home game, you know, night before, and then, for instance, if you're on the road, till, you know, you go all the way up until after the game.
Do you sleep?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, what do you got?
Yeah, so our game days or our game weekends are a little bit different. So I would probably say game weekend kind of starts for all of us on Thursday, Thursday evening, because on Friday. So if it's a home game on Friday, about 2:00, we'll have a team meeting, and then we'll have position meetings and stuff, and then we'll go do a quick 30-minute walkthrough, and then even for home game, we stay in a hotel for home games as well as away games. So we come back from the walkthrough, everybody puts their suit on, we get on the bus, we drive 20 minutes down the road to our hotel, stay there for the night. We eat a team dinner, we go to the movies, every Friday night, home or away game, go to the movies, and then have a little team meeting on after the movies about 10:00, and then everybody kind of settles in. So I do a lot of my preparation on Thursday night, just reviewing plays and stuff like that. But like going through the week, we hammer these plays so much, like you're usually pretty like good with all of them. So I'll just kind of review all that. And then Friday, I normally try to kind of just like take a break from the week and like, you know, just let go of it. And then, like I said, we go to the movies. So I kind of just enjoy the night. And then, I usually get a pretty good night's sleep. Every once in a while, it'll be hard for me to sleep if I'm thinking about the game. But I normally take melatonin.
I couldn't sleep, man. Because what's Death Valley hold? How many people?
I think it's like 70 to 80, I think. Something like that.
Does the field shake? Like, can you?
No, but it gets pretty loud. We had a couple games last year where it was you couldn't hear much.
Man,
So
gosh, dude, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I know. You know, Florida's the same way.
Yeah.
Florida gets really loud. They say it's one of the loudest environments.
Well, I ask if he can feel the field shake because, like, when I'm in the swamp and everybody's yelling, you can feel the vibration of the concrete, like the swamp moving. It's weird. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure the people in the stands can feel it, but like when we're on the field, we don't really feel much. But you can feel the decibels for sure. Like people are yelling, you can definitely feel that.
So crazy.
So going back to the game day, you know, you try to get a good night's sleep. Then on game day, what are you doing? Do y'all have certain meetings or lifts or you know?
Yeah. So on game days, we'll wake up in the hotel. If it's a noon game, everything's accelerated and quicker, and the times are moved up. But I'll take you through like a 7:30 game. So 7:30 games or 3:30 we get to sleep in. We usually sleep in to like 9 or 10. Go get a breakfast downstairs, and then we have a special teams meeting at 11:15 normally, and then right after that we'll have the whole defense will meet, and we'll just watch film and go over plays and stuff and what we're doing that night. And then normally about 12:45, they'll cut us loose. And we're in the hotel all day. So they'll cut us loose. We'll get like a quick lunch, some snacks, chips, Uncrustables, protein shakes, whatever. And normally most guys go take a nap from like 1 to 3-ish. And then we have chapel at like 3:30. And then team meal is about 4:15.
What is
Everybody
that like?
eats. The Saturday meal is dead quiet. Everybody's got earbuds on and headphones on, and nobody really says a word. And if they do, they're like whispering. So that's when everybody's pretty locked in, because once we finish chapel and pregame meal, it's you go throw your suit on, you have a quick walkthrough with offense and defense, about 20 minutes, and then we're on the bus to the stadium and going to Tiger Walk. So it's pretty quiet in there.
Happens
Friday
pretty quick
nights
too, I bet.
Yeah, it does. But Friday nights, everybody's real lively. And even at breakfast Saturday mornings, unless it's a 12 a.m. game or 12 game, everybody's pretty, talkative. But yeah, meal before a game is dead silence.
I've always been curious about that. When a game starts here on the East Coast at 12 a.m., like what time does like Dabo have you guys there? Like at 6? Are you there at 6 a.m. like getting breakfast? No.
We have so when we're in the hotel for a 12 p.m. game, mandatory breakfast is, I think it's around 8 a.m.
Okay.
So everybody will eat breakfast. That'll take about 30 minutes max. We'll do a quick special teams reminders, in the meal room. And it's just like a big, like in the hotel, it's like a conference room that we eat in.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do a little special teams reminder. And then right after that, we'll already have our suits on for breakfast. So normally we leave for the stadium for a 12 p.m. game around, I think it's 8:50 or like 9 o'clock, get to the stadium around 9:20 or 9:30. And then that's, about 2.5 hours prep time before the game.
It's not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We don't really like to wake up for a 12 p.m. game.
I don't think
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to be out early, because normally we're like out back to the house around 5 p.m. that day or so ish. So everybody likes to be out early, but waking up is a little bit harder.
I bet.
So
especially after going to movies.
Explain to me, Cade, you coming as a freshman, and you said you were redshirted your freshman year, correct?
Yeah.
Did you were you still dressed and everything your freshman year or no?
Yeah. I was able to dress for all the home games, and I went to 2 of the away games that year.
And so explain to me, man, you get on campus, and you have your first Tiger Walk and your first this, and you walk into Death Valley and it's rolling, opening game. How does that feel as a 18-year-old kid?
It's wild for sure. We do a lot like before the first home game, and I'm mid-year, so I was able to play in the spring game and stuff like that before the season.
Mm-hmm.
But we do a lot like just to kind of prepare the freshmen, so it's not as big of a moment, and we're not like just like it's not crazy to us. It still like blows our mind every week. But we kind of go through like a normal game day and like all that kind of stuff, running down the hill and all that prior to like our first home game. But yeah, it's a big deal. I remember we played South Carolina State my first home game, because my freshman year we played Georgia in Charlotte, and then we played South Carolina State at home. And you get up on top of the hill, the rock, and like everybody's yelling and screaming, and
legs are shaking.
Yeah, it's just I like to just look around. Some people are like locked in, like you got those certain guys that are locked in, but I'd like to take it all in. I'm just looking at everybody. And then running down the hill is pretty cool.
Is it sketch?
But like once you get down the hill and like hit that full sprint like across the field and then get to the sideline, that's pretty cool.
Have you fell down the hill before?
I was about to say, I know people falling.
Nah, I never have. I take it real slow. I just do like a little slow skip down. Some guys, we had a receiver, he's not here anymore, but he used to run, and it's like here, and then it's a little, I don't know what you call that, and then it goes down more.
Yeah, like a tabletop kind of.
Yeah, so he hit the little bump right here, and every time he got to that, he would jump in the air, like jump all the way up and like spread his legs and do like a Jordan type deal. and then land. And I don't think he ever every time I played with him, he hit it every time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was about to say,
That's a pretty dope entrance.
Yeah, it's sick. Some guys run up, jump, click their feet and stuff. I don't do any of that. I'm just nice and slow.
I'd be the same. I'd be the same way.
Or you're gonna be on the Sports Center highlights the next day too.
Yeah.
Cade Denhoff tries, heel click.
Yeah.
I love it. You talked a little bit about watching film and making sure, you're staying up on your plays and everything like that. LCS, we had film, and so it wasn't as much, of a new thing. But how's the difference between the analytics? Your pregame, making sure yourself's prepared. Obviously they're going to beat you over the head and, get all the plays and make sure you know everything. But how do you handle it, on your time? We talked a little bit with Jake Fox, who he plays for the Cleveland Guardians organization, and they go through, spin rates and pitch speeds, and he can analyze all that. How does that work in college football?
Yeah, it was definitely a big adjustment for me because, coming from LCS, we didn't have but like 3 plays for the defensive line. It was like right, left, or middle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a huge adjustment. Coming to college and learning the playbook. It was my freshman year. That's what I struggled with the most, was just knowing plays. And to play for us, like, that's the biggest deal. Like, if you don't know where to go or what to do, you can't play. So that was a big adjustment. But once I kind of settled in, like my sophomore year and then coming into this year, normally I'll watch film right after practice. We all have an iPad, so I'll watch film on my iPad and just watch myself. And then some of what the other guys do. I'll watch individual stuff. I'll watch all of our team periods, and then whatever else we're doing. I'll watch some special teams as well. And then normally the next day, our coaches will have our practice graded. So I'll go into the film room at the facility onto the computer, and I'll watch it again. And I'll look at what the coaches said about it and the notes they put in. Because we get like positive and negative grades for each play. And then like notes for stuff to pay attention to. So I'll go and watch that a second time with the notes, kind of just get a better understanding of like the day before and like what we're looking for the next day, and stuff like that. So that's where most of my preparation comes in, watching film twice, I guess. I didn't used to do it because I didn't used to think I needed to go watch the notes, but I found out real quick it's a good idea to watch it twice.
I'm sure Dabo instilled that in you too.
Yeah, that's he's definitely a preparer. But yeah, the defensive coaches, they stay on us about film. If you're not watching it, they stay on you. Like it used to be, I didn't watch it, so my coaches used to tell me all the time, like, you need to watch film, and I would always be like, yeah, I'm watching it on my iPad. But like then I kind of figured out, yeah, you need to go into the facility and watch it.
Who's your position coach at Clemson?
His name's Lemansky Hall. He's a defensive ends coach. And then we have a defensive tackles coach as well. His name is Nick Eason.
Okay. I know you say D tackle, D line coach. There's not just one defensive line coach over those two guys, or it's just those two guys?
No, it's just them two. We coincide a lot with a lot of the stuff that we do, and the stuff that we teach, but they're separate.
Okay.
So yeah.
I love it.
We're one of the few schools that has two defensive coaches for the D line.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I've always heard of just like a D line coach.
Yeah.
That's pretty in depth. That's taking it to the next level.
For sure. Being able to to have that ability, resources to have, individualized, and obviously that comes to the next level. Like I said, we talked with Jake and how it was cool where once you get to the next level, whether it's from high school to college to the minor leagues, or the NFL or the major leagues, or however, you get handed more opportunities to better yourself, whether that's technology or you get individualized coaches, and it's cool to see that, but you got to make sure you work your butt off to get to that next level, so you have those opportunities to get even better.
Cade, when at Clemson, how often do you guys go like live, pad on pad?
We go live every day. Well, so spring ball we were live pretty much every day. We have 3 different practice tempos, we call them.
Mm-hmm.
We have tracking, which is it's like no tackling. It's just like you go and just tag their hips. And we have thud, which 90% of what we do is just thud. So basically just wrap up.
Okay.
And then our third tempo is live. So today we had a full scrimmage, and that was all live work. But normally if it's a regular practice, it'll be mostly thud with maybe one live period here and there. But mostly it's thud for the linebackers and defensive line, and then all the back seven is just tracking. So ball thrown in the air, receiver, DB. There's like no bringing to the ground. It's just play the ball in the air, and that's it.
See that
We keep it pretty. We try to protect everybody most of the time.
that's what I was about to say. Everybody nowadays is bigger and stronger than ever. They have the best access to health, like in the history of humanity. So these college athletes are bigger, stronger, hitting each other more than ever, stronger than ever. And, I was kind of curious looking at all these guys week in and week out that seem to be playing at 100% health on Saturday. They cannot be beating up on each other during the middle of the week, but you got to get your reps in too, man. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
how's the health, the trainers and stuff at Clemson? Is there an abundance? Are they fast paced?
We have one of the best training staffs, and then recovery staffs, which I'll tell you about in a second, is really cool. But just quickly, when we get into season, Mondays, it's sort of like NFL. So like Mondays, like we'll go in and work out. It'll be a squat day, a lot of lower body, get ourselves loose. And then practice is just shorts and helmet. So that's all just like non-contact stuff, just getting the game plan down for the week. Sort of like what we did at LCS SMO.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the game plan down. Tuesday is the heavy hitting day. That's all. It's all thud, but it's still that's our hardest day of the week. And then Wednesday we go shells, a little bit lighter. And then Thursday is back in shorts and a helmet. And then our training staff is great. We have a head trainer, and then we have like 4 or 5 assistant trainers who handle everything. And then we have a bunch of student assistant trainers that do all the taping and all that kind of stuff. We just got something this year. We call it our gauntlet, Infinity Gauntlet. So basically, before spring ball, the whole team got tested. It was ankles, groins, shoulders, your neck, and then I think one other body part. Basically, whatever we had the biggest injuries with this past season, we tested everybody's strength in each of those body parts to see if it was strength or not. And so now we call it our tune-up list. So everybody who's like has a deficiency in one of those body parts has to do a tune-up twice a week on that body part. So like we're continually like building up muscles that aren't as strong, building up body parts that aren't as strong, like to prevent injury. So that's a really big part of our training staff. And then we have something that we call our Clemson Applied Science Lab. We call it our Castle, which is all recovery. So that's like massages and like red light therapy. And we have something called a dry float tank, it's basically like floating in water, but you don't get wet. So that just helps with like muscle, loosening.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm in. Where to sign me up?
Yeah. We call it our 100 yards of wellness. We just finished it this past summer. So it's our whole training room and our whole recovery room, like all put in one. It's roughly 100-ish yards, part of the building, the football facility. So man, that's a huge part of everybody staying healthy and getting back on the field for Saturday. So
you blew my mind when you say that, like they're so specific that they target areas that have been injured. Like, is that when they target areas like that, are they hooking up like sensors to those areas to do like ultrasounds or something?
It's all basically, it's kind of like just physical therapy. So that you have a list of like your day one tune up. You have Monday through Friday to finish it. So you could do day one on Monday and day two on Thursday. And it's just got a list of like 4 or 5 different things to do for that body part. And everybody knows how to do them. It's just easy stuff. So like I have a deficiency in my groin muscles. So a lot of, building up your groin strength is having core strength as well. So like it's a couple different core workouts, couple different leg extensions, like while your hands are extended, just stuff to build your core, but also your groin strength. So it's a lot of just physical therapy stuff.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah.
The science and man, like you said it, the resources for this sport, it's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah. With all the, you said 100 yards of wellness. Did they put you on a diet plan? I know there's some schools that, you have specific meals that you have to follow, and there's specific times where linemen have to eat this and, body size types, whatever.
Yeah, that plays a big role into all that stuff too. Our nutrition staff and our strength staff, and then recovery and training staff are like in sync. Everybody works together, like just to build the best version of each athlete. So yeah, our nutrition staff, we like they had the whole entire team meet with them individually, like individual nutrition counseling in January, just to kind of ask like what we thought about our diet, if we wanted to be on one, because they don't make you be on a diet unless you're like really overweight or like really underweight. Um, but yeah, I'm on a diet right now. It's not really strict. It's just like it's really pretty simple. It's like protein and carbohydrates and like a color, like a fruit or a vegetable with each meal. And then I just eat some source of protein, like a protein shake or like a peanut butter and jelly or something every couple hours in between meals. And then just stay away from like soda and fried food and stuff like that. And that's helped me tremendously this off season because I wasn't on that before. And I didn't really know as much about dieting until this year, or how big of a deal it was like for an athlete, especially with what we do. But yeah, that's helped me a lot. I lost some weight and also was just able to build a lot more muscle and be more toned up. So yeah, all those, the nutrition staff is amazing.
What's like a pregame meal look like for you guys?
A pregame meal is steak and chicken, and usually there's spaghetti, macaroni and cheese, broccoli, green beans. There's like a biscuit and like we have those Red Lobster cheese rolls.
Those are so good too.
Dog. Yeah. I'm gonna stop you right there because you're making me so jealous. Man, when me and Nate played college ball, it was fend for yourself.
Circle K
games,
hot dog.
Yeah, man. Like it was like you better go eat on your own dime before you get to the field because we ain't got no money to buy you food. Like,
if we were on the road, we get like Chick-fil-A and stuff, though.
Yeah, like a sandwich from Jimmy John's. Yeah. Like it was nothing like this.
Well, that's what happens when you.
A lot of the guys pick out. Or I'm one of the guys that eats a lot of food pregame.
I would too.
Some guys eat a real small plate, but I don't eat everything on the buffet, but whatever I get is like a healthy amount. So
gotta have those carbs. Gotta have those carbs and protein.
Yeah, sure.
Cade, I want to talk a little bit about, you were big academics in high school. I mean, you had the grades, you had, the stars. I mean, ideally, these big schools could look at you and be like, this is the kind of guy that we want to have on our program. He's a hard worker, does hard work in this classroom and on the field. If you don't make it to the NFL, obviously that's the goal of every athlete playing college sports. If you don't make it to the next level, what are kind of your plans after that? Have you thought about it? Kind of what's your major? What are your future plans?
Yeah. So I'm a criminal justice major with a minor in psychology. I love anything that has to do with law or criminology or anything like that. And I like to know the why people do things and how they think and what their thought processes are. So that's kind of why I have a minor in psychology. But yeah, I would consider going to law school. That's not 100%, but it's kind of in the back of my mind. And then I've considered forensic psychology quite a bit because that's kind of like investigative work with criminal stuff. But
yeah, forensics is super interesting.
Yeah. And then I actually just found out recently about the U.S. Marshals Service, and I talked to a guy about that. So that's a little. I threw that onto my plate as well to kind of consider. And then coaching is always like on my mind too, because I love to coach and teach people. And then real estate at some point. I'm probably going to take some real estate classes towards the end of my career once I have my degree. Kind of just get ahead on that. So those are my ideas. Obviously nothing's set in stone or anything like that. But those are my ideas so far.
I love it. I mean, all of them are so ambitious.
Different. They're so different, but they're really cool careers too. Yeah. The marshal, you mean like a U.S. flying marshal, like in the clouds, right? On planes.
No,
and stuff?
So that's what I originally thought. Okay. I thought that was all it was. But that's like another part of it. But there's a whole lot of things you can do. with it. They do like security for like Supreme Court judges and stuff.
Oh,
They do investigative work.
I didn't know
They
that.
they handle warrants to like arrest fugitives. That's really cool. The guy I actually speak with about the U.S. Marshal Service, that's what he did. So yeah.
Our episode 10 guest, Tori, she was a flight attendant, right? And she was talking about the marshals on the planes sometimes. She said like they were taught in flight attendant school that they have like a secret like hand code or whatever, something to that dude.
Yeah, it was like a secret like message or whatever to let the marshal know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to have to give us that
Coach,
hand code.
Smo, you remember Wilson? His dad is Coach Grooms. He was I don't know if he still is, but he was a flying marshal.
Yeah, I now that you say that, I do remember that.
Such a cool job.
Yeah, you were talking a little bit about being like having investigative work like with the U.S. Marshal and everything. Side note or whatever. I didn't know that there still today are like real life like bounty hunters, which sounds like, the U.S. Marshal, like they're still like in that.
Dog.
Yeah.
Like literally Dog the Bounty Hunter. You've never heard of Dog the Bounty Hunter? Cade, have you heard of Dog the Bounty Hunter?
Yeah, I used to watch it.
Yeah,
Dude.
no, I've never heard of that. I didn't realize they were like real life people like that weren't like police officers that were bounty hunters.
Oh man, I can't wait
I
for.
don't know. I know bounty hunters are different. Like I don't think they actually work directly with the government or whatever. I don't know how they like get or how they get those like cases or whatever. But they do basically the same job.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's what I didn't realize that was a thing. Because I was watching Old Western and be like, are there like real life bounty hunters still? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't realize. I thought we outgrew that. I thought we had a police service.
I can't wait till we have our media assistant in here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
With Mav. Oh man, he'll be able to pull up that video for you. I cannot believe you've never seen Dog the Bounty Hunter. What?
Yeah, you got to watch that.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Cade, this is a kind of a cool thing that we're adding. Have you ever seen like Joe Rogan podcast or whatever? What's it, Jamie? Or what's the guy's name?
Jamie.
So we're getting our own Jamie. And so we should be having a guy. His name's Maverick. And he should be helping us with some of our tech stuff, and he'll be able to kind of sit in the corner and look up some things if we have, fact checks.
He'd be able to pull up a video of Dog the Bounty Hunter looking for somebody right now.
Like TV.
Yeah.
Exactly. But no, I think this is a perfect time to kind of move into our snap questions. We were able to get to know the Clemson side of Cade and a little future of what he wants to do.
That was solid. The Clemson side of Cade. That was smooth.
But Cade, another question that we ask every episode is if you could have 3 people out to dinner, who would they be? And where would you go? And they could be dead or alive.
Okay. The first will probably be Michael Jordan.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He obviously I don't play basketball, but he's got just an elite mindset, and the way that he handled himself was pretty cool. Anything that has to do with him, I watch. He's just like one of my favorite athletes of all time. And then probably I'll probably say David Goggins.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Who's that? I'm not familiar.
The Marine that's like really big on TikTok. He's been on the Rogan Experience a couple times. He's huge. He's like
the bald guy, and he's like runs a lot.
He's like always screaming at people or having
he's a light skinned guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen him before. Yeah, I really like his stuff.
Yeah, I just I'm finishing up his audiobook right now, like the first book that he wrote, kind of like a memoir of his career. So I would definitely like to hear from him as well, because his mindset is crazy too. And then I would probably say Job from the Bible.
I like that.
I was thinking about this earlier, just about why I would want to eat with him, just probably because of like what he went through. I think it would be really cool just to hear like why he continued like to worship God and stuff, worship the Lord like through his circumstances. So yeah, those would probably be my top 3.
That's
Jordan,
a first.
Goggins, and Job.
Yeah, to explain that a little bit, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You probably are a little bit more familiar at this moment in time. But Job basically, he has a bunch of like bad things that like just came over and over again. Whether it's it was his harvest that was destroyed, and then it was family members that died, and it was like things that happened like again and again and again, and somehow he was staying faithful or whatever, and his neighbor was basically saying like, why are you worshiping this God still? And then God provided him plenty of more blessings and everything. That's pretty much right, Cade?
Yeah. Job was like a perfect, pretty much, well, not perfect, but pretty near perfect, like in his character and like everything that he did. And he had like a wife and children and livestock. And Satan was like wandering the earth, like looking for like somebody to like mess with, basically. And he went to God, and God was like, have you considered my servant Job? And Satan was like, nah. And God was like, you can do anything to any of his belongings, any of his valuables, his family, but just don't touch Job. And Satan went and killed off his whole family, his whole livestock, literally everything. His house, like, burned it all. Like, everything was gone. Like, Job was literally left with like the shirt on his back.
Mm-hmm.
And he still worshiped. So I think that's just crazy in itself.
Yeah, it's crazy to be able to be put in that situation.
Yeah.
But at the end of he ended up getting like, what was the end of the story? Wasn't he like blessed like beyond belief or something?
Yeah, he was blessed at the very end of the book, because like he had like 3 friends, and they were all, like you said, we're all telling him like, you need to just quit. Like, there's no point in worshiping God anymore. And he just kept on, and God blessed him like immeasurably at the very end. So
Or it happen. It's crazy. What happens to you when you commit to things, right? And you stay committed, right?
Exactly.
Right? Oh. Our next question for you, Cade. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? That's a good one. Follow up that answer.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough. I do like to travel. That's a tough question. Anywhere in the world. Maybe somewhere. I would probably say somewhere in Europe.
Okay.
I guess maybe. I don't know. This is gonna sound weird, but I love the movie Ratatouille.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Favorite Disney movie of all time. So maybe Paris or something.
Go see their romantic city.
I don't know if I have one that I would pick though. But Paris would be cool.
Yeah, it would.
Would you have the what's the snail dish?
I know what you're talking about.
Not etouffee. It's
Don't get this wrong. We have viewers in France.
I know. Where's Maverick when we need him?
Yeah, right. Right.
It'll come back to
They'll
me.
roast you in the comments.
But basically, it's like a snail meal or whatever. I can't remember the name of it. It's killing me. It's like
Does it start with an E?
maybe. I can't remember. Anyways,
We'll think about it later.
I guess we'll go to the next question, but I was going to make a point about it. But anyways, so Cade, if you could, you're a hard worker, and obviously, people can just listen to you and tell that's kind of the person you are. If you could leave one legacy to the world, whenever you're gone or move past or whatever, what do you want your legacy to be?
I would probably just say people, legacy of character, just in that, just kind of holistically, how I carried myself in my faith, how I treated people. So yeah, character would probably be number one. Just people to think back and just remember, not like the things that I did or the things that I accomplished, but like who I was as a man.
Right.
So yeah, I would probably say who I am, or was as a man, for sure.
Remembered as a great man with
That's
a
what I
great
want
faith.
people to remember as my legacy.
Nice.
I love
That's
that.
deep.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's
Especially on your platform too.
Yeah, I was about
because
to
a lot of people would be like, I want to be remembered for being the sack leader at Clemson, or I want to be remembered being the number 2 overall draft pick or whatever. But that's a pretty humble approach to that question.
yeah, very mature approach.
I mean, I could go 100 different ways with it. And And even like, I mean, I can't lie. I mean, that's, at some point or another, in my career, I'm sure I'll be like, man, I really want to be remembered for that or remembered for this. But I mean, if I really get down to like into the grit of it, like that stuff is just, nobody really like remembers that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it might be in the back of their mind. Yeah. I remember that, he was a sack leader or he owned all these houses or whatever. But yeah, I think they're going to remember who he was as a man, firstly, above everything. I mean, that's why I say I want to have like dinner with Jordan or Goggins or something like that, just because of who they are as a man. They're not perfect in any way, but that's kind of what I would say.
How they carry themselves. I love it.
Nice. You want me to take this last one? All right, our last question for you before we let you go. We know you're a pretty busy guy. You probably got practice in the morning or something. But if you could see any person in our Rule 1, chair or via Zoom, who would your like guest be? Who would you like me and Nate to talk to on your behalf?
Wait, who would I just want to like see you guys?
Yeah,
because
as a guest star.
Yeah, you were saying that you'd seen a couple of the episodes. Who would you want to see as an interview?
Okay, so since I already answered about who I would want to eat with, I would probably go. I want to go the golf route with this one. I would probably say Bubba Watson is one of my favorite golfers. I would probably say Bubba, or let me think, or maybe Jordan Spieth.
Okay,
Jordan Spieth.
Yeah,
cool.
that's a good one.
That'd
be cool.
PGA golfer on here with you guys.
Yeah, we haven't even thought about golf. I don't know that I know any.
We'll have to look into the Florida Gulf Coast PGA program down there. They have a PGA field maintenance program, and I'm pretty sure I know a couple people that are in it that work hand in hand on these golf courses and stuff, and know people in that. We'll dive into that rabbit hole.
Might need to try to stick our foot in the door somewhere down there.
That's a good. Thanks for that idea, Cade. That was a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Cade, I've had a blast catching up with you. I hadn't seen you in a while, and man, we just want to wish you luck this upcoming season. You'll be going full force into it here in this summertime, getting after it in the weight room and getting ready to rock and roll, man. But go get a national championship and keep competing and doing your thing, man.
Yeah, man, go get you one.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me, man. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
you guys luck too. I keep up with you guys' podcast, so I think it's really cool.
I love it. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, if y'all want to keep track of Cade, just like he keeps track of the podcast, you want to shout out your Instagram or social media where they can find you and maybe ask you a question or two?
Yeah, it's just at Cade .Denhoff on Instagram. I think that's my Twitter as well. So yeah, if you just search out my name, it'll pop right up.
And if you can't find him, you can swing on over to our pages, Rule 1 Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And we'll be following Cade there too. You can follow him or check him out on our follows list. Guys, also, please keep on hitting that subscribe button. It keeps getting bigger by the day, the amount of subscribers, and it helps us out. It helps us, push us in the algorithm and make us bigger. So we appreciate you guys doing that so far, and the people that are going to do it in the future as well.
Definitely. Well, thank y'all, and we'll see y'all next week.
Peace. Thank you, Cade, so much.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all. All right.